In recent weeks, there have been a surge in silver and gold prices. Gold has reached all-time high, while silver still looks cheap. These metals are precious metals, and they are being bought mainly as a hedge right now. But what about copper? Copper, if you look at the periodic table of elements, you will see it is in the same column as gold and silver. It has some of the same physical and chemical properties as gold and silver. But unlike gold and silver, copper is never considered a precious metal. The metal is used to make coins. It is used to make medals, to make statues. For example, brass and bronze are alloys of copper, and they're used to make bronze statues. But copper is never considered a precious metal. It is a base metal. And actually, copper is the third most used metal in the world after iron and aluminum. But is copper today a better investment than gold and copper? I'm going to answer this question after you smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you are new to the channel, my name is Ishfaaq. I am a popular investor on eToro, where I manage assets for over 120 people. So please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss the coming videos. Like we said, gold and silver are precious metals. There are two other common precious metals, palladium and platinum. Each one of these have different uses. For example, platinum is used in catalytic converters, but this is not the use of gold. Gold and silver are mainly used as hedges, but silver, being the best electrical conductor, also has electronic uses. Gold has very limited industrial uses. Every time I say this phrase, someone will come and say that every phone contains gold. It is true, but most of the gold in the world are not in your phone. It is in vaults of central banks or other rich people. So this is the main purpose of gold, to be stored as a hedge. Silver, like I told you, is also a hedge, but it is also used for other things. For example, in electronics. But because silver is still a precious metal, it is expensive. It is not as expensive as gold or even platinum and palladium, but it's still expensive. And if people can use other metals which have some of the same properties as silver, they will use it. And one of these metals is actually copper. Because we said silver is the number one electrical conductor, copper is number two. Copper is very abundant on Earth, more than silver and gold, of course, and it is used even in construction. For example, to make pipes, it is used to make electrical wires. We have copper everywhere. I'm sure you have more copper in your house than gold or silver or platinum or palladium or even uranium. Like any commodity, the price of copper will depend on supply and demand. The more demand there is for copper, the more the price will be. And the least supply of copper there is, the more the price will be. So it is like any other commodity. But unlike gold, the demand for copper is for different reasons. We say that gold is mostly used as a hedge. So whenever there is a recession, you will see that gold prices will go up because people want to buy gold. They don't want to own stocks or bonds anymore. They are going to buy gold. But in the short term, you will see that the price of copper moves opposite to that of gold. It's because when the demand of gold is high, usually the demand of copper is low. Whenever there is a recession, we say that demand for gold is high. But what about copper? There is a recession, there's less construction, there is less industrial uses of copper. Industries are not working that much. And of course, the demand for copper will go down. So is the price of copper. But this time, things are different. Because of all the money printing that has been going on, all the quantitative easing, there's a lot of money in the system. Even if we are not seeing so much inflation yet, I recently made a video about inflation, you can watch it. We are seeing monetary inflation, even if prices of goods are not increasing that fast yet, but there is a monetary inflation. It means that people don't want to keep cash. Investors do not want to keep cash. They want to invest that money. And in one of the things they are going to invest, one of the assets is gold. So prices of gold will go up. So even after the recession ends, we can still expect prices of gold to keep going up because of all that money that now are being saved by people who are not investing. When these people are going to spend that money, this will create actual inflation. So all this money, when it is spent, of course there is inflation, the prices of gold will keep going up. But at the same time, the economy will be moving and the demand for copper also will increase. So simultaneously, the prices of gold, copper and silver will be moving up at the same time. This is something unusual. You will see it happen in the 1930s after the Great Depression when FDR was elected president. In 1933, he decided to abolish the gold standard. So there was a lot of money printing. Gold prices went up. And at the same time, the economy was recovering little by little and the demand for copper was also increasing. Now we can expect the same thing to happen after this recession. Nobody knows if we are going to have this recession for long or once it ends, we'll have another recession immediately. Nobody knows that. But we can be sure that over the long term, I'm talking about the next 10-20 years, the demand for copper will be increasing. Because first of all, most people who do not have electricity now, in the coming 2 decades, they are going to have access to electricity. Because you look at many African countries, you will see that not everybody has access to electricity. You look at India, even at other Southeast Asian countries, not everybody has access to electricity. And these people now, for the first time, are having access to electricity. So more electricity means more demand for copper wires. More demand for copper wires means higher copper prices. And it is not just in poor countries, also in the developing countries such as China. There will be higher demand for copper because of construction, because China is growing at a very fast rate. And it's not just China, other developing countries, even Russia, all these countries are developing, Brazil, they will need more and more copper. But what about the developed world? The demand for copper in the developed world is also going to increase. There's going to be more and more electric vehicles in circulation. An ICE vehicle, internal combustion engine vehicle, on average, it has 23 kilograms of copper. You can use all the copper wirings and it stretches up to 1.5 kilometers. If you are an American, I'm sorry, you don't understand kilometers and kilograms. But that's a lot of copper. But now when we are talking about electric vehicles, of course there is going to be more copper because the name itself says electric. When you hear electric, you can think of copper. On average, there will be about 80 kilograms of copper in electric vehicles. So 4 times more on average. Now, when we are going to have electric buses, electric trains, all these things are going to use more and more copper. And it's not just electric vehicles and electric trains. It's also about renewable energies. When I was traveling about 2 years ago to the UK, I saw something very interesting. There was a big offshore wind farm. It was very beautiful. So you have over 140 of these wind turbines. Usually when you have an oil or a coal power plant, you only need one turbine, and with one generator, it will be enough to produce electricity. But with wind, with even waves, it's not that simple. You need multiple of these turbines and generators. And each of these turbines, of course, need a lot of copper. And with more renewable energies, there's going to be more and more demand for copper. 5G also is going to increase the demand for copper because we know with the 5G towers, they need to be close to each other. And these towers, they use electricity, they need copper. The higher demand for copper doesn't necessarily mean that there will be higher copper prices if the supply can meet the demand. There are 2 ways supply can meet demand: by recycling or by mining. There is no problem with the recycling copper, but there is a problem with mining copper. Because copper prices have been so low in recent years, those copper miners have not been investing too much in building new mines. So the capital expenditure of those copper miners have been quite low. Now when the demand for copper is going to increase, there will be a point when the supply will not be able to meet that demand. And we will have something which is called a supply cap. It means the demand is growing too fast for the supply to meet it. Of course, eventually the copper miners are going to build new mines and then the supply will meet the demand. But over the short period of time, the price of copper can go very high. And this is what I'm betting on. Nobody knows when the supply cap will be. Maybe it's going to be by the end of the year, maybe it's going to be next year, maybe in 5 years, maybe in 10 years, but it's going to be here because we can already see that in the future there is going to be more and more use of copper. Electric vehicles are something which are going to be very important in the future. People are so bullish on Tesla right now. If I wanted to invest in electric vehicles, I would bet on copper. Making it is easier to make money on copper than on Tesla. So this is more interesting if you want to invest in electric vehicles, in renewable energies. Look at copper. So how do you invest in copper? I want you to be careful when investing in copper. It's the same thing with gold, with silver, with anything else. You need always to be careful. But here you need to be much more careful because, like I told you, copper prices are still low. Those copper miners are still losing money. Some of them are making money, yes, but not that much. So if we have another recession, right now we are getting out of this recession, we can say. If we have another recession, let's say in 2 years, and copper prices are still low, it will drop. And when they drop, many of these copper miners are going to lose money. So you need to be very careful with copper. But now, if you are thinking about the next 10-20 years, then I think investing in copper is a good idea. But like any commodity, I prefer investing in the miners itself instead of buying the metal, because I believe you can make much more profits if you invest in the right miner. I'm telling you, the right miner. It's very important to invest in the right miner. You need to look at the risk, the reward. I have analyzed several of the copper miners, and I will make another video talking about these copper miners. Which one do I believe is the best investment? I already have Freeport-McMoRan in my portfolio, but this is not my favorite copper miner. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about copper? Thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe and share. Please watch these two videos if you have missed them. Have a nice day and goodbye.